everybody. Welcome to the Bark Knight Podcast. This is episode 34, our top 10 favorites of 2003 episode. So the whole thing with this episode is that as we've talked about movies more and more over the last 33 episodes, we came to realize that there's certain years where things really just click for us. And 2003 was one of those years. It's a big year in movies, really.
Right. A lot of directors starting out, a lot of franchises kind of coming in their own. It's crazy the amount of movies that came out this year that are still kind of culturally relevant. That's a way to put it.
Yeah. And I think for myself, this year really it meant a lot to me at the time. A lot of these movies. So I will, as I go through these, I have most of these on DVD.
Right.
And so I brought those with me, and I'll pull them out as I get to them. And for me, it's almost like a year that defined what my movie taste would be going forward. And so, I don't know how, Dan, you decided to do your list, but I know that I put things on here that you could very easily point to other movies that were released this year and say, that is a better movie. That is a way better movie. But there's certain things I put on here because I'm like, but I just like this one better. Or
Right.
For a period of time, I watched this over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
I got a couple on here that to follow into that way of thinking. The rest of them, a couple of them. Well, when we get to my top 10, there's a couple of them I couldn't leave off, just in good conscience. So, but yeah, you have a couple more than me, so.
Yeah. So I know I called it the top 10 episode, but as we went through this, I could not, in good conscience, leave my list at just 10. So I'm doing a top 15, and Dan's sticking to 10 because he makes better choices than me. So I'm going to run through 5.
I had a
quick movies
long work
here.
day.
I texted Dan, I don't know, was it last night or was it this morning?
I think it was last night. I just didn't because I woke up late too. That's my fault, and then I
And
just didn't have time.
I was like, are you opposed to turning this into a top 15 or 20? And he's like, I don't have time for that. And I was like, all right, well, it's already there for me, so.
Facts are facts.
Okay, so we're going to do my 15 through 11 here, and then Dan and I will go into our top 10. Then we'll do some honorable mentions, and then I have a list of movies that came out this year that were not included on our lists that I really think it's worth pointing out to everybody that they were released this year. So you really see how difficult it was to make these lists. And also, I just want to say, I looked it up. Over 500 movies were released this year. There was a massive amount to go through. And there was, I assume that is like some direct-to-video things, but no, like this is in that time where like multiple things were releasing at the movie every week. Sometimes there's like 5 big releases at the movies each week. So it's a very significant year.
I mean, not like what we have now, where it's like you get one new movie a week that's notable. Usually,
sometimes it seems like you don't even.
Yeah, poor Novocaine.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kick it off.
Yes, sir. Ready for it.
So this is the most hilarious way to kick off this list too. My number 15 is Cradle to the Grave.
I love it. Okay, all right, go. Shoot your shot, kid.
Just to set the stage here. There was a period of time where I watched this movie nonstop. No, I have not watched this movie in a very long time. But it is basically the capper in a trilogy that is DMX movies by, I don't remember the director's name offhand, but I had all 3 of them on DVD. Now, the first one being Romeo Must Die.
Oh, yeah,
Jet Li, and DMX is in that. DMX is like the only person in all 3.
Is that the Aaliyah one?
That's the Aaliyah one, yeah. The second one is Exit Wounds, which I really can't watch anymore because of Steven Seagal.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
Yeah, but DMX is the main character of that. And that is a very good movie. If I could use AI for one thing, it would be to turn Steven Seagal's character in that movie into Jet Li.
That'd be great. Or Ray Liotta, whatever's easier.
Perfect movie.
Dude, I looked at this director's name to help you out. I can't say it. It's like Andrzej Bartkowski.
Yes,
I have no idea.
It is something like that. Yeah, I can pronounce it when I'm reading it, but I don't know if I've ever said it out loud though. I'm not going to do it right now.
No.
So back to Cradle to the Grave.
Yeah.
I owned the soundtrack to all 3 of the movies. This soundtrack, it has some bangers on it. So for one, it's got this Eminem and DMX song called "Go to Sleep," which is phenomenal song, and it's so like brutal and like it's like the era of Eminem where he's talking about killing people a lot.
Yeah, I had back when he used to be able to make mixtapes, which is like this era. That one was definitely on a bunch of mine.
Yeah,
no question.
But also, it's got the all-time classic that is "X Gon' Give It to You."
Mm-hmm.
And the movie has DMX riding around on a 4-wheeler through the streets, stealing diamonds and stuff. It's got Jet Li doing crazy stuff. It honestly is an absolute blast. And I wish I didn't get a chance to watch this weekend because I didn't realize it came out this year until last night. This is one of the ones that was like a late stage edition that I was like, now that I know this movie came out this year, I have to add it. I have to add this to the list.
Completely agree. It's a very enjoyable movie.
So that's my number 15.
I like that. That makes me happy.
So that's to set the stage for some of these. There's going to be some on here that you're like, yeah, I know you had to put that on here. And that's why I did 15, because a big part of my list is things that need to be on it, that I'm like, I can't in good conscience leave this off. But like, I don't want to strip my personality out of it either.
Yeah.
And that is what number 14 is as well. It's part of my personality during this era. And it is Vin Diesel's A Man Apart.
I knew it was going to be up there. I thought it would be higher, to be honest with you. So
it was higher until I realized a couple things. It got bumped from like number 9, I think. And it got bumped all the way up here because of a few things that I was like, oh my God, I need to just mash these into the list. And I hated that it happened like that, but it did.
No, I'm glad it did. Talk about movies. That's what this is about.
Let's talk about movies. So I got it right here.
There he
is. A Man
is.
Apart. I watched this last night. It is Vin Diesel, revenge thriller. It also stars Lorenz Tate and our favorite, Timothy Olyphant. So he's in that movie. And he's having an absolute blast in it. It's somewhere in between him becoming a permanent cowboy actor and Scream 2.
Yep.
And so this movie, it's also Anton Fuqua, who did no, it's not Antoine Fuqua. It's F. Gary Gray, who did Menace. No, he did Set It Off. Lorenz Tate is in Menace to Society. That's why that was on my mind. He did, I don't know. He did a whole bunch of movies, but he's very good. You know what? I'm going to look it up.
I got you. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, he did Italian Job, Law Abiding Citizen, Straight Outta Compton. I think he did 1 or 2 Fast and the Furious movies. He's very good. This movie reminds me a ton of Man on Fire.
Yes, I was going to say.
Very similar to Man on Fire. Basically, it's a revenge thriller right in line with Man on Fire. It's in that era of Vin Diesel where he was doing unique movies that were all one-offs before he got into his just not like over and over Fast and the Furious movies, which is all
Fast and the Furious speed bag. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all he's done for the last 10, 15 years.
Well,
but
that and Say I Am Groot. That's all, really.
Yeah. And so this was in that stage where he was doing some interesting stuff. You know, he had Boiler Room, he had Pitch Black, he had this, he had Knockaround Guys.
I really like Knockaround Guys.
Like a year after or before this. Yeah, Knockaround Guys is a very fun movie. It's very of that era too. but that's Vin Diesel, Barry Pepper,
Seth
Seth
Green.
Green.
Mm-hmm.
I think John Malkovich is in that,
Yes, he's the uncle or whatever.
and maybe Dennis Hopper too. I don't know, but
Yes,
anyways,
he is.
nice, nailed it.
Nailed it.
And so this movie, I watched it just last night, and yes, there are certain things that are very of the 2003 era in it. Oh, Triple X, another one that he did back then. And that's another one that's like this and Triple X are you'll see things in it that you're like, this is very, this era. But this one was not as egregious as probably the first Fast and the Furious and Triple X were. But it's that time where he was doing one-off movies.
Right.
He didn't. I think Fast and the Furious came out a couple years before this, and
I
he
think
didn't
01.
even come back for the sequel
No.
because he was doing singular movies again. That's where his head was at. In fact,
And then money.
yeah, right. And then, well, eventually he had a string of misfires too. But
Don't we all?
in fact, it had occurred to me that Too Fast, Too Furious also came out this year, and so he probably did this movie instead of that one. So
Good choice.
yeah, so I'm not, this is a movie where I'm not going to say that that it's the best movie ever, but I've watched this movie so many times, so that's why it's on the list for me.
No. It was an honorable mention for me, just off my list.
Yeah. Okay, number 13 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2003.
Another honorable mention for me.
That's why I thought that I needed to take some time to talk about these, because they're, for me, this section right here, it's all the personality of the list, So I watched this last night, and once again, got the DVD of it right here. It's even got this
the slipcover.
Yeah, it's got a steel plate thing that came in it.
Look at that.
Yeah, that thing looks crisp as hell. Where the rest of the box is pretty beat up.
Looks like ass.
Yeah. But that is still in great shape.
Yep,
it also
that's all matters.
Folds off into this whole thing. It's got
I tilt my head like I can see it.
limited edition thing here.
That's pretty cool. I never saw that version of it. Is it like one of those Platinum Dune releases they used to do? Not Platinum Dune, Platinum Series releases they used to do?
New Line Platinum Series. You
Yeah.
are exactly correct. Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed as well, is that New Line killed it this year. New Line is all over this list. Yeah, so I watched that last night. I was very, very, very happy with it.
It's a good remake. Like it's takes the old and shines it up enough that it looks good and it respects the original, but it doesn't like try to replace it necessarily. And yeah, it's very enjoyable. It's a very well done remake, and I think at the time it just kind of got lost in like the shuffle, because there's a lot of horror that came out this year too, and I don't think it did that super well at the theater, but
It did well
stayed.
enough that it got a prequel.
That's true.
With Jordana Brewster.
Yes.
And yeah, so Jessica Biel is in this one. Jonathan Tucker, Arlie Ermy. What's that other guy's name?
Give me something.
Eric Balfour.
Nope, only got him.
That's Jessica Biel's boyfriend.
In the movie. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was really happy with it. It does a lot of interesting things. The way it does spins on the original characters. I think that Arlie Ermy is much scarier than the guy in the original film.
Oh, completely agree.
It's also interesting because the two guys in the original are supposed to be brothers, but they come across more as father and son. But in this one, they come across as brothers a lot better. There's a scene towards the end where it almost fakes out where it's going to go, where you think that she's about to get picked up, and the car drives away because it thinks she's crazy, and that leads into her running into the meat plant, which, that whole scene in there is really cool. But yeah, they redo a handful of shots that are done really well. And yeah, I think that I think the intro was really great. in the remake here. You know, it expands enough upon what happened in the original, almost like it's starting off with a documentary type thing. And then the way they tie back to it, and they're like, this is the only known footage of Leatherface. That was all
Yeah,
right. So
it's quite a good remake, and I'm glad that you brought it up.
yes. Very good. Okay. Next on my list, number 12, is Wrong Turn.
I thought maybe on your list.
Yes. So, Wrong Turn, right here.
Seabiscuit.
Yep. So she's in this. We got Desmond Harrington. We got Jeremy Sisto, Emmanuelle Chikri. I think that's how you say her name.
Can never say her name.
I think I nailed it. So
I think you did good.
So this one you and I watched just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Very good. Held up very well. Like I put it on here because I think, you know, it's not quite as good as some of those originals. You know, like it's doing a lot of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for this one, but it is still mostly original. So that's why it gets ahead of the Texas Chainsaw remake.
Right. It's like it's got elements of that. It's got elements of The Hills Have Eyes, kind of, but
yeah, exactly. So
spawned a whole franchise, whole weird ass franchise.
It did spawn a whole entire franchise, which never saw Eliza Dushku again, unfortunately. But you know, it's probably for the best because most of those movies that came after this weren't very good. But it's a lot of fun, and it's very, very of its era. You know, in 2003, everybody had watched this. You know,
yeah,
it was everywhere. Everybody was watching it. It's a good one. So on to my number 11. Darkness Falls. I could have found a place for this on my list. In fact, like a part of me wants to switch it with number 10 right now anyways. But this was going to be on the list no matter what happened. So I watched this last night, and this movie is so damn good. It is a ton of fun. Like you kind of have to like suspend your disbelief for a little while in it because like I was trying to figure it out like as I'm watching it. I'm like, why doesn't this happen to other people? And then they're like, oh, because you know everybody in the town knows you don't look at the tooth fairy. Like they say that to each other over and over. I'm like, okay, so this is apparently the only dude that looked at her and lived. Yes. And everybody, I guess, like he alludes to, you know, there being a bunch of unsolved murders and stuff. So, yeah. But besides all that, I mean, it is just like, it's for one, 86 minutes long.
Love it.
So it's super tight. There's no wasted scenes, no wasted frames whatsoever. It's just going from boom, 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 thing to thing to thing. And, I mean, the villain in it, the design of her is awesome. The mechanisms that they use are all pretty awesome. And I wish people just talked about this movie more, because this movie, to me, is just really, really, really awesome. And the creature design is from Stan Winston, I just noticed on the back of this DVD.
Dude does work.
Yep. The star of this, his name is Cheney Clay. He actually passed away probably 3 or 4 years after this was made, so that's why we haven't seen him in anything else. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It was complications from sleep apnea is what they said.
Jesus.
But this was also the second part of the 1-2 punch of the little girl at the beginning, Emily
Browning?
Emily Browning, yeah. So the year before, she was in Ghost Ship, and in this year, she was in the introduction scene of this, and she's very good in both. And you didn't see her in a lot of horror after this, but, you know, that was a really good start to her career there. She's still acting nowadays, but not in anything I've seen.
Yeah, she was in Sucker Punch, but I don't think that was too much after this.
No, that was a good while after.
Was it? Okay. Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Because she's like an adult in that. She's like a child in this.
Yeah, that's how time works.
But yeah, anything you want to add for this movie?
No, I need to see it again. It's been so long on that one. That was on my short list to watch again for this, but then I knew it wasn't going to crack the top 10 at a certain point. I'm like, that'd just be wasting my time. Because a lot of the movies I watch to to see about getting them on this list. They didn't force themselves into the list. They kind of just
You watched it and you were like, "Oh wow, that wasn't good."
yeah, like well, we'll get to honorable mentions in a bit. But yeah, it's like that can't be. I can't have like that above Kill Bill or something like that. Oh,
Right,
spoiler,
right.
sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of my post top 10.
Yes.
So why don't you kick off our next one here, your number 10?
All right. Coming in at number 10 for me is The Station Agent.
Okay. I saw that you were watching that. I've never seen that.
Okay. So the reason why I put it on this list too is like this is the same year that Lost in Translation came out,
Yep.
and Lost in Translation was a huge movie. Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, and it's about Bill Murray's a lonely man finding this young girl and everything. And this movie kind of has a lot of the same vibes. I just like it better.
Hmm.
So Peter Dinklage is the main character. His name is Finn. He's kind of a recluse, kind of a introvert, and he inherits a train depot from his only friend in the world. And he goes to the train depot to try to just live his life, kind of pretty much, because he has no friends, no one left after his friend passes away. And when he gets there, he ends up meeting Patricia Clarkson, who's lost her son earlier, so she's all melancholy. And then he also runs into Bobby Cannavale, I think his name is. He plays a character named Joe. And they together, the three of them are just kind of like three broken, sad individuals that find like a found family kind of thing. And it's weird and it's not the most fulfilling movie ever, but I just really enjoy it. Like these three characters that are all kind of broken, sad people find a family in themselves, and
Yeah.
it was one of the ones I had to that this is the one that I watched that I had I got to put it on my list just to show it some love, because I think it gets kind of lost this year. But yeah, yeah. Peter Dinklage, Rotten Tomatoes Rotten Tomatoes has a 94% from the critics, 89 from the fans. IMDb has got a 7.6. It was made for a budget of $500,000 and grossed 8.7 million, so they probably weren't angry about that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an interesting movie. It won't be for everyone. If someone sees this video and decides to go watch it, I can't guarantee you'll like it, but I enjoyed it. And like I said, it reminds me a lot of Lost in Translation, and I just like it better.
Yeah. There you go. I've never seen Lost in Translation either.
I think it's overrated, but that's me.
Certainly could be. But okay. Cool. Good pick. My number 10 is Bad Boys 2.
Nice.
Yeah, so I didn't watch this one
No need.
recently, but yeah, I don't need to because I've seen it many, many, many times. And yeah, it's awesome. It is the best this franchise ever was and ever will be, by all
Likely.
accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago with Sarah, and this movie, it's firing on all cylinders. It's Michael Bay, mostly at his best, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
yeah. I think the only thing that's probably better than this is The Rock. But between these, I've said it before, between these two movies, he gets a lifetime pass from me. Yeah. I don't care how many bad movies he makes at this point. Between these two, that's it. He gets a
Armageddon's fun. Armageddon's fun.
Armageddon is fun. I mean, during that era of the late 90s to early 2000s, he releases a lot of good movies. Mm-hmm. It's him and Jerry Bruckheimer, so they're killing it. And there are so many good set pieces in this movie. Right. Like when they're in that they're shooting up, they're in that neighborhood and there's a house with a bunch of Jamaican guys. Mm-hmm. And the camera work as it's spinning around the room over and over again.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, going through the holes that are being shot in the walls. It's all so cool. The beginning scene in the swamps where there's all the special forces or SWAT guys or whatever they are, and both of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence come out from under the KKK hoods. Mm-hmm. What's his name? He's in that opening scene too. The guy that played Zod in...
You said Zod?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon. He's one of the racist KKK guys.
Is he?
The one that they like throw into the trunk later in the movie for the car
Really?
chase. Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
that car chase that they do where they have the car that's the semi with all the cars on it and they're just throwing cars
Hmm.
off the back of it. That is like one of the best action
It
sequences
really is.
ever created. So it
And
needed to be on my list simply for that scene alone.
and like you said, like Michael Bay gets a lot of crap for just making dumb action flicks. Sometimes you just want a dumb action flick.
Yeah. And for how dumb this one is, it's also pretty smart. You know, it's got a ton of action sequences that are done extremely well. The CGI is extremely effective. It's used very sparingly. There's a ton of practical effects in the midst of it. I mean, just look at the last scene there where there's like the Hummer going down that hill when they're in like I don't even remember where they are, Colombia or whatever.
I think so. Yeah.
But the villain in this is awesome too. He's like the bad guy from Blow.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. We'll see if it shows up on my list or not. We'll see.
All right. I think my closing statement for this movie is that everybody that's involved in it is at the top of their game. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, top of their game. Michael Bay, top of his game. Jerry Bruckheimer, top of his game. The villain there, I wish I could remember his name. This is the top of his game too, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, good pick. I like it. All right, so moving on to my number 9 then.
Yep.
At number 9, I have Mystic River. Mystic River, of course, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, and Kevin Bacon. They play childhood friends who there's a tragedy. And like they were close friends as kids, and then something happens, and they kind of grow apart. Sean Penn's character becomes an ex-con. Kevin Bacon's character becomes a cop, and I forget what Tim Robbins.
He's a weirdo.
Tim Robbins becomes a weirdo.
Yeah.
Much like real life. But no, so and then Sean Penn's daughter, he plays character Jimmy, doesn't matter. His daughter gets murdered, and the last person to see his daughter alive was Tim Robbins' character. So Sean Penn's trying to take street justice, we'll say, out against Tim Robbins, and Kevin Bacon's trying to, calm everything down, trying to get the proof, trying to figure out what actually happened. And it's just such a good movie, man. And it was one of those ones I saw, and like I just as soon as I saw it, I'm like, you know what, that one's special, and it's always been one I enjoy watching.
I had a feeling this was going to be on your list.
Yeah, it's very good. 89% from Rotten Tomatoes, 89% from the fans, 7.9 IMDb, and yeah, it's just really good. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest it. This one I can suggest probably more than Station Agent, that people will widely enjoy, but it's very good.
It is very good. I will spoil my list with this one and say it is not on my list. I do think it's a good movie. I did consider it. And the only reason I didn't put it on was basically because I have at least one other super downer movie on here, and I only had time for one.
Fair. It's not a very enjoyable movie, no.
It's not.
It is pretty punching the balls the whole time, ain't it?
That's the only problem I have with it, and it's not a problem. You know what I mean? It's one of the main strengths of the movie, and it's actually the intention of the movie. You know,
right.
Like that's what he's going for with it. But that would be the only, I guess, spoiler I would say for everybody. Like, just be prepared to get knocked
not be
down
happy.
a couple pegs.
Yeah. It doesn't end well.
The ending to
yeah.
To it, man. It just like
the last scene.
It kills me.
Yeah. In the very last scene there, where Kevin Bacon's like, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're on number 9, right?
Number 9.
Number 9 for me is Anger Management.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, did you?
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie so much. And Adam Sandler, Jack Nicholson, I've watched it a ton of times. My wife loves it. It's got so many quotable scenes. It's another example that, like, from a comedic perspective, I think both of them are at the top of their game in this, right?
Oh, yeah. Jack Nicholson is having a great time. You can tell.
I mean, people still reference that meme of him when he's like,
Yeah, exactly. It's got a really good John C. Riley cameo too. Not
Yes, it
well, yeah,
does.
it's a cameo. Yeah, I call it a cameo.
Yeah,
It's a cameo.
it's a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Turturro is very good in it. The one guy, like all of his usual people that he puts in
Mm.
his movies, they're
Are
all
here.
in it, and they're all awesome.
Yeah.
Unique
Is it?
characters, hilarious scene after hilarious scene. You've got Marissa Tomei as the beautiful wife. Yeah.
Adam Sandler always has in his movies.
Yep.
Man knows
And
what he's doing.
he does know what he's doing. That's not an accident.
No.
I feel pretty. Oh,
Oh,
so
so
pretty.
pretty. That is a good movie. That was on my list to rewatch too, and I didn't think it was gonna crack the list, so I left it off.
You know,
Spoilers for my list.
yeah, I didn't think I felt like I had to.
Mhm.
And there were certain things that I looked at and I was like, well, so that's the thing, like you gotta give and take, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, Mystic River, I love, but it makes me feel bad,
it does.
and I've only watched it twice. Anger Management, I've probably watched
30.
75
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about that. Like, and as we said, rewatchability is a big thing for movies.
Yeah,
And
and but that is to say that I do have my own version of Mystic River on this list, which is something that I've only watched probably twice. That makes me feel absolutely terrible, and it's very high on this list. Actually, it's not that high, but anyway, you'll hear about it in about two entries.
Meet the
You probably
Spartans.
already know what it is, but yeah. So I could only put so many of those, like, okay, perfect movie that I don't watch very often type things. So
Hmm.
I think that's the interesting part of doing these lists is we get to make it our own and say, like, okay,
Right.
so I'm very glad that you put Mystic River on yours, and I'm
Well, yeah,
very glad
exactly.
that I put Anger
Anger management.
Management on
Yeah.
mine, so we still had a chance to talk about both of them.
Right. And you make such a good point there too. Like it should be different. We shouldn't have the same list.
No.
No one should.
No, and that's actually why we don't tell each other about this before we do it, because I don't want to influence you. I don't want to
Hmm.
influence from you.
Right.
And we get to, because I mean, our top choice is probably going to be the same, knowing
Right.
this year. And there will be a couple more down there that will be on it too. I'm sure.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure that I know 3 of the movies in your top 5.
Yeah. I think our top threes might be very similar, but we'll see.
Maybe.
All right. My turn.
Yep. Number 8.
All right. Moving on to number 8. I have a movie that I could not leave off the list. It kept showing up, and I kept going. I can't ignore it. I can't leave it off because I will feel just absolutely bad about it. And that is Kill Bill Volume 1.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not my favorite Tarantino movie, but it is very good, and I can't argue with it. 85% from the critics, 81 from fans, 8.2 on IMDb. Of course, you guys know Kill Bill. Like it's part of the pop culture lexicon now. People the so many scenes from the movie have been spoofed and parodied, and just it's all over the place. Family Guy, Robot Chicken, Futurama, like they've all done it. I'm sure the Simpsons probably have too. I haven't watched the Simpsons for 20 years, but I'm sure they did it. And yeah, it's a story about Uma Thurman's character, the bride. She gets attacked on her wedding day and then seeks revenge against the people who attacked her. And it's
Mm-hmm.
all done in the style of Quentin Tarantino, ultra violence, over the top blood. Maybe the most blood sprays in a movie I've seen until this substance probably took the crown this year.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just fantastic. Great cast. Um, and yeah, you can tell Tarantino wanted to do a movie that showed his love for like 70s kung fu movies, and it definitely comes through here. And you can tell like even like her yellow outfit is definitely inspired by Bruce Lee from Enter the Dragon. And yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and I had to put it on the list. I had to adjust some things.
Yeah. I love Kill Bill, and it'll be on my list. Much higher than yours, apparently.
Yes, yes. Hey, that's all right. Maybe I was wrong about my top three.
You are wrong about your top 3, apparently.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll save any additional points I have for now on that then.
Right. That's
But
fair.
it's very good. Also, I just want to say I love that you did the effort of including ratings for yours. I didn't do that. I know we usually do that with things, but in all honesty, I was having so much trouble building this list that just having the list was is that's got to be enough for me.
Yeah. No, you did 15, man.
Yeah. I couldn't whittle it down from 15, so going into massive details about them was it was a bridge too far.
Not gonna happen. Yes.
I was still editing this up until like 4:30 today.
On my lunch break. That's when I put the Rotten Tomato scores on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 8 is Final Destination 2.
Yep.
You're like, my top 3. No.
I love that movie.
I love it too. I watched it over the weekend, and
is it the shiny
I
one?
have it.
It's the shiny one.
Yep. So that's funny that the time of the Infinifilm. Also, I just want to point out to everybody, I used to do this when I had these, where I just slice it with a blade. I don't know why I did that, but I did that. So I have it on DVD. It's a lot of fun, and it's, I think, once again, the best this franchise ever got.
Yeah.
You know? So I really wish Devon Sawa was in this. They did his character dirty.
They did.
The kills in this are so awesome.
Oh.
So many iconic kills. So for one, the massive car. So for anybody that doesn't know what this movie's about, it's about
Watch it.
Each one of these is about a giant accident happens and somebody sees it in a premonition, and then death makes a plan of coming back for each of the people that survived it. Yes, the cleanup crew. And so for this one, the big accident is a massive, like 50-car pileup or something. That pileup, nothing can top it.
No.
Most people still cannot drive behind a
log truck
that has logs on it because of this movie. Also, I constantly bring up to my wife, and I constantly think about it when during that same pileup, somebody goes to hit the brakes, and they had
the water bottle,
and a water bottle falls under their brake pedal, and their brake won't go down. And so there's so many things that happen during they're truly iconic, and they've impacted the way I live my day-to-day life. Still to this day, I think about those things and bring those things up.
I mean, just like Christmas shopping with my mom this last December, we were going down the road and a log truck pulled out in front of us, and she just goes, "Nope," just like went slower because she didn't want to be behind it.
Yeah. So this one, you can tell they're all having so much fun with the idea, you know, and it's just, I watched it and I was like, man, I need to watch this movie more because, like I said, I used to watch this all the time, and it's top-notch Final Destination movie.
Oh yeah, completely agree.
All right, take it away with the next one.
All right, moving on to number 7. At number 7, I have The Rundown.
Ooh.
Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Sean William Scott, Christopher Walken, Rosario Dawson's in it. And it's a movie about The Rock's character plays he's a collecting agent, I guess it is. Basically, he has this guy who he's like a loan shark, and he's the leg breaker for the loan shark. And the loan shark sends him after his own kid who's down in the Amazon trying to find a golden idol. And he goes down there trying to bring back this guy's son, played by Sean William Scott. And when he gets down there, he finds out that the town that he's staying in is ran kind of like a dictatorship by Christopher Walken, who has a ball in the role. He's just menacing and just chewing the scenery and chewing on his lines, and he's fantastic. And then it just goes from there. They just get into adventure. It's a buddy, not cop film, but it's a buddy film, buddy action picture, I guess. I don't know. There's probably a term for it. But of The Rock and Sean William Scott just trying to trying to get out of there, trying to escape. It was called Eldorado at first, and they changed the name, which I kind of bummed by. I wish they would have kept Eldorado. Um, this one on Rotten Tomatoes is a 69%. Nice. 66 from the 66 from the fans and 6.7 from IMDb. That's fine. I love it. This might be the movie I've watched the most. I don't know why. Something me and my dad liked. He doesn't like that many movies, so the options are limited with him. But yeah, it's great. There's a great Ernie Reyes scene where he shows up. I don't know if you know him. He's like a martial artist. He was in T2 way back in the day. And like there's like a rope fighting scene with him and The Rock, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I can't recommend this one enough. I think it's underrated, forgotten, and it needs to be talked about more.
Okay, so let me give you my spiel on this movie.
Yep.
So I'm deleting it from my honorable mentions as we speak. This movie very, very, very easily could have been on my list. And there were points where, like, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not. And the only reason it's not is really just because of how I felt at the time of building my list. Because this easily could have been, you know, like number 7 or 8 for me, too. Because it really is a super fun action movie. It's also The Rock at probably his best.
Right.
You know, him in this, him in Walking Tall, you know, like those couple of movies in this era, that's when he's trying different things in his roles. The opening fight scene in this movie.
The
Sarah
club
was so where like he walks by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Arnold
have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole fight scene is done so well. And Sarah was shocked. She was like, "Oh my god, why doesn't he make movies like this still?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
They should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this movie is a ton of fun. Sean William Scott is great in it. Rosario Dawson is great in it. The dude that plays the bagpipes, he was in a ton of movies in this era.
Oh yeah. Can't remember his name, but he definitely was. He was like in Pearl Harbor. He was all over the place.
He was in Alien versus Predator.
That's right. I forgot about him in there. He definitely was.
Yeah. Dude was all over the place. And he is a ton of fun to have around, too. So this movie, it really does have a unique feel to it. And I'm really pumped that you had it on your list where I couldn't somehow find a place for it. And, you know, like if I was in a different mood, this easily could have taken the place of Wrong Turn or Darkness Falls or A Man Apart or like any of my movies. It could have easily, if I had like watched it more recently, switched out, you know, or if I was if I was on an action movie kick right now, you know, it easily could have been in there. So I'm glad you had this. This movie is, I think, if there's one thing I want to recommend for people to watch, please go watch this movie. Because while I don't think most people will like Man Apart, I think most people will like The Rundown because it is such a blast.
Yeah.
And it's got great, great action scenes, you know?
It does. Like there's a whole thing about how he doesn't want to use guns, and they don't really talk on it or touch on it. I mean to say until like the end shootout scene, and you've nailed it. It is fun. That's the best way to put it.
And yeah, like you said, Christopher Walken is great as the villain in this.
Having so much fun. There's that. Not to. We'll move on, but there's that great scene where he's talking about how he wants the idol back, and he's referencing like the Tooth Fairy, and he doesn't know if it's translating to the people in his employ about the Tooth Fairy. He's like, "Do you understand the concept of the Tooth Fairy?" And I do that all the time, just to this day. It'll randomly come up in conversation.
That would have been a great way to lead off with Darkness Falls too.
Yeah. There's a crossover we didn't know we need.
Yep. I kind of did. I feel like no Christopher Walken on my list is disappointing.
It happens.
Yeah. All right. What are we on now? Are we on number 7?
You're on 7, yes.
Okay. Number 7 for me is Oldboy.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized I don't have a number 6.
That happens. Is there 2 5s?
Nope.
No. Makes you feel better. I skipped like 3 pages in here for some reason. Somehow I managed that.
I'll figure something out there.
All right. Well,
Anyways.
go back to Oldboy.
Yep. So Oldboy. Oldboy is a movie that I think one of the biggest things it did is it opened my eyes to Korean cinema. It
Right.
was one of the first ones I watched. It has such a, I think the best way to describe it is a visceral feel to it, you know?
Yeah, completely.
There's a bunch of scenes in it that are just extremely visceral, extremely disturbing. The fight scene with the hammer,
So good.
so good. The octopus scene, the ending is such a twisted
Ugh.
move to make at the end of it. It was just like, so if you're wondering, this is what I was saying. This is my Mystic River of the list.
Yeah.
I can't
It's
watch
not a
this
happy
movie
movie.
very. Yeah, it's not. I can't watch it very often, but it is. I feel one of those movies that everybody needs to watch at least once.
And not the remake.
No, man, the remake sucks so bad.
It's got a good cast too. That's the worst part. Like this should have worked, but it didn't.
Yeah, I remember when I think it was the director had been asked about how he feels about the remake, and he was like, if there's one thing I hope, it's that they just make it their own. And they
They
didn't
did
really.
not. They did not.
No, there's like, it's, yeah, it's just not good. So, anyways, yeah, Oldboy.
All right. That's a good number 7. Moving on to my number 6, I have Open Range. Open Range is a Western starring Robert Duvall, Kevin Costner, Annette Bening. Michael Gabin plays the bad guy, and it's a story about these cattle herders who go to a small town where their way of living clashes with the small town's way of living, and just badness ensues. The townsfolk attack one of the ranch hands that's going with the Robert Duvall character, and then they come for revenge. And it turns into like a shootout at noon at Main Street, kind of like an old school western. And I like westerns as it is, and this one really is one of my favorites. So at least definitely of the last, because there's not too many westerns that come out anymore, and I am a huge fan of it. 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, 84 from fans, a 7.4 on IMDb, and yeah, it's great. There's one scene in it that I feel like the trailer spoiled, the most iconic scene in the whole movie, and I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. But
I've never
yeah,
seen the trailer or the movie.
you never seen Open Range? I
No,
think you'd like it.
I'm sure I would. I saw that it was a movie that existed in 2003 when I was looking this stuff over, but no, I've never seen it.
My mother didn't like it because she hates Kevin Costner. How do you feel about Kevin Costner?
I'm fine with him.
Yeah, you're fine. You like it.
This
But
isn't
yeah,
my favorite era for him, though. This is, well, no, this is a little bit after Dances with Wolves. That was like
no way.
96 or something, right?
Dances with Wolves 91, I think.
91? Yeah.
Because it beat out Goodfellas for the best Oscar, best picture Oscar, which shouldn't have happened. But that's neither here nor there.
Which, that's crazy to me. Like,
Yeah,
I'm so glad that Tombstone beat that movie up,
yeah,
but it didn't at the Oscars, which
no,
is a crime.
it is a crime. But yeah, dude, you really should watch this. You'll like it. It's a classic western, as I said. A lot of good gunfight, a lot of good actors. Michael Jeter's in it. If you remember him at all, he was an actor who passed away sadly not long after this movie was made. He was in The Green Mile, the guy with the mice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The bad guy from Air Bud.
Yep. The bad guy from Air Bud. I'm sure that's why he wants to be remembered as.
That's what I remember him from.
But yeah, this one has Dumbledore being the bad guy, which is fun.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what I always think of him as? Oh, wait, no. That's Michael Gambon, right? I
Yeah.
was thinking of the large guy, Hagrid.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think you should watch this one, my friend.
Yeah, it sounds like I should. I'll add it to the list.
Nice.
Okay. My number 6, which is a game time decision, is School of Rock.
Nice.
This was on my honorable mentions, and it was one that I was keeping an eye on. That, like, man, I love that movie so much, and it made it onto my honorable mentions at the last minute, and I had never really had a chance to consider truly where I wanted it on my list. So once I realized that I left this one blank, boom, School of Rock is coming in there.
I
So
like that a lot.
School of Rock is an absolute blast. I owned the soundtrack to it. I probably watch this movie once a year.
Yeah, I just watched. It was one of the ones I rewatched for this list. I had it at 9. I had it at 10, and it bumped off the list at the end, the last moment there. But it's not because it's not a good movie. It's just because this was a killer year. But yeah, it's fantastic. Jack Black, as you said, Joan Cusack is really fun in that movie,
Yes, she is.
and yeah, it's just it's a good time.
She's always been an underrated actress, I think.
She has. I think so too.
You ever see her in Gross Point Blank with her and John Cusack
No,
and Dan Aykroyd? That's a good movie right there.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, you should. But yeah, it's a feel good movie. The
Yep.
perfect way, if you're doing a marathon of these, the perfect way to follow up Oldboy is a breath of fresh air with School of Rock.
And then go into
Listen
Mystic
to some
River.
music. You beat your feelings down, Mystic River. But yeah, I think this is probably my favorite Jack Black movie. Easily.
Yeah. It was like I said, it was on my list for so long, and I took it off the last minute. So I'm glad you brought it up. Like you've said a couple times, it deserves to be talked about.
Yeah. So great movie. Check that out. It's pretty much a masterpiece in my eyes.
Right.
All right. So now we're into the top 5.
Top 5.
So
And
there's a handful of movies that are in my top 5 that you haven't mentioned yet. So we might have some top 5
quick crossover
here. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure 5's safe though. I don't think you're gonna have 5 on your list.
You don't think so?
No, because
Is it
number
Finding Nemo?
Number 5, I have Finding Nemo.
You're a madman.
Dude, it's so good.
Okay, Finding Nemo is good, and I had it on my list of like, oh, we should make sure to mention this one. That's great that you have it on your list. Take it away.
Yeah. So yeah, Finding Nemo, story about an overprotective father. He's overprotected because his son has a small fin, and the kid's trying to prove himself. Ends up getting captured, taken to a dentist's fish tank, and now the father's got to go find his son. And it's Pixar when Pixar was really hitting it out of the park, and great voice cast: Albert Brooks, Willem Dafoe, Ellen DeGeneres. It's got a 99% from Rotten Tomatoes, 86 from the fans, and an 8.2 on IMDb. And yeah, it's beautifully like it's not shot. It's obviously drawn, but it's I don't know. It's one of those movies when it came out. I watched it and I just kind of went like big-eyed, kind of like a kid, and I enjoyed the crap out of it. It led to a spin-off sequel that wasn't great, but yeah, it deserves to be mentioned. It made $942 million at the box office. I wanted to mention that too. That is
50
something.
billion.
Just short, but close. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's one of my. I don't want to say it's forgotten because people definitely remember Finding Nemo, but
no, everybody remembers Finding Nemo.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't have on my list initially, and this is the highest that someone like when I went and redid it. It went from off the list to 5 because I had to put it on there.
That's great.
But that was funny. You got it. Is it because it was animated? We have this running joke.
Because it was animated.
All right, my dude, we got it 5.
Okay, so I'm going to make a game time decision here and switch around number 5 and number 4 on my list because I really feel that I had some recency bias having watched one of these just yesterday, and I can't abide. So, switching it up, my new number 5 is Tears of the Sun.
Mm-hmm. There she
Tears
is.
of the Sun. I mean, you can say, like, number 4 was way too high for this movie. Many people might argue that number 5 is, but I really, really, really love this movie. It's my list. Is this not on your list anywhere?
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Well,
it's not. Spoiler, it's not.
Okay.
It was honorable mention.
I don't want to wait and see. So we got Bruce Willis. I mean, we could say he's probably at the top of his game in this movie.
Oh yeah.
His acting is phenomenal. This was my introduction to Monica Bellucci.
Mm-hmm.
She came out with this and Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions this year. So
Hmm.
those three big movies that had her in it. Also, the U.S. release of Irreversible was this year. Do you know the movie Irreversible?
No.
It's one of those movies you can only watch once.
Mm.
It is like one of those hard to like it's a hard
Like
one watch movie.
like Requiem of the Dream, kind of.
Uh, Far worse,
Oh,
as a matter of fact. I've actually watched Requiem a couple times, and I've read the book. But no, it's far worse than
okay.
Requiem, in my opinion. But anyways, so Tears of the Sun. It's about a group of Navy SEALs in war-torn Africa that are escorting a scientist and her group of refugees through the jungle while being chased by a group of basically militants.
Hmm.
And so I watched this yesterday. This movie made me cry. I
Oh,
don't know if it's ever made me cry before, but the scene where they happen upon that village
right.
and like all the villagers are being just like brutalized. That scene, like, it is one of the scenes of why I don't watch this movie nearly as much as I would like to. But like, it is a hard scene to watch. And as I was watching it, right before the scene came on, because I've seen this movie dozens and dozens of times. One of the things that I read was that one of the guys that is seen crying next to the village is legitimately crying because he was a refugee, and the scenes were depicted so accurately
Mm.
that like he had like a breakdown there and just started like bawling his eyes out.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and so that really hit me in that moment there. But in you see all these guys that they've built up as like these hardened soldiers. All of them have some sort of breakdown in that scene.
Yeah.
Seeing their own version of brutality within that village. It's also followed up with the last probably half hour of this movie is some of the most thrilling action sequences I've seen it, where they're when things really kick off at the end and they're running through the fields and the jungle as just bullets are flying everywhere. By this point, there are hundreds of soldiers chasing what's left of this group
Hmm.
through this area, and they're trying just desperately to get to the border. And yeah, it's extremely thrilling, and it proves why Antoine Fuqua has become one of my favorites when it comes to directors too. So yeah, very good movie, and the team of Navy SEALs is also like a who's who of action character actors at the time.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a very good movie. I need to watch it again. Um, but yeah, I can't argue with it being on your list. I should have probably been on my list. It was an honorable mention, but now I don't have to talk about it for honorable mentions, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't on your list, to be honest with you, because that seems like the type of movie you would be, that like right up
Oh
your
yeah,
alley. It's almost like the Black Hawk Down of this year.
yeah, that's funny. But you're right. Yeah, it was on my list initially, and then Station Agent took its place. It was my first honorable mention. It was just off the list
It's Plies.
as Plies. All right, moving on to number four. At number four, I have Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl.
All right, yeah, that was an honorable mention for me, so I'll take that off my list.
Right. So this movie launched a giant franchise, and you said it earlier, like movies not getting back to the same point ever. This franchise never touched this point again.
No, it doesn't.
Like, this movie should have been just
They
a
released like
standalone.
4 after this, right?
There's like four, yeah, and none of them are anywhere near this good.
No.
But yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, directed by Gore Verbinski. I think I said that right. Doesn't matter if I did. And yeah, basically it's just Johnny Depp's drunken sailor Jack Sparrow has become a pop culture icon, and this movie's been, again, same as like Kill Bill. It's part of like the lexicon. People just know the Pirates movie, and like when they talk about it, they don't talk about the four sequels. This is the one that people bring up. The scene where the pirates walk, because the pirates, of course. If anyone doesn't know, Johnny Depp plays a captain whose crew deserted him on an island and went to get a treasure. Treasure ended up being cursed, and now the crew's trying to find the missing pieces of the treasure so that they can return it and break the curse. And the curse made them undying, but by moonlight they're like skeletal zombies basically. And there's so many iconic scenes, and like when they're walking across the ocean floor, and like the lights coming down through the water, and like they go underneath the ship, and the shadow goes with them, and it's just a lot of fun. 79% from Rotten Tomatoes, 86 from the fans, 8.1 in IMDb. Movie grossed $654 million. It was a huge hit, and unfortunately, like I said, they never came close to it with that franchise again, anywhere near it. I'd even say. I think you could watch this one and just stop. You're good.
Yeah, you could. And this is another one from Jerry Bruckheimer,
Hmm.
who was in this whole era, just really killing it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree with all your points there. It was one that I highly considered putting on my list, and I just didn't feel like it.
That's
But it is just everything you said. I agree with. It's very good. It started an entire franchise. It made a boatload of money. Sarah is in love with this movie,
is she?
and she's a big fan of a couple of the others too. But yeah, you're right that it just never quite hits this height again, and I think it's because this movie is leaning heavily into the
World building.
uh,
Nope.
Treasure Island
Yes.
story,
Yep.
where the other ones try and adapt lesser successful stories and
Yeah, like
legends. And
the Fountain of Youth, I think, is one of them, or Davy Jones's Locker.
yeah. Oh, Davy Jones thing is nonsense. But I
Yeah,
did watch that the other day, and I was surprised at how, in a lot of these, just how good the special effects are.
they still look good.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why we still get so much ass special effects nowadays. But
Well, you know
that's
why
life.
it is because now everybody's doing it,
Yeah,
and there aren't enough special effects artists,
right.
and
They're not given the
people
time
get
to make it.
overloaded.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 4 is X2 X-Men United. So now you see why I did the old switcheroo between this
Yep.
and Tears of the Sun. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, there was definitely some recency bias when I put that there last night.
But it's such a good movie.
It is such a good movie. I've talked about this movie at length many, many, many times. It's in my Mount Rushmore of comic book movies.
Hmm.
It is the X-Men movies never touched this again, you could argue that Logan does, but it does it in a different way.
Different way.
Where Logan is great because it's like this singular story. This one it's showing everything that is possible with a team up movie like this, when
Right.
that didn't exist at the time. There weren't team up movies everywhere. The first X-Men was good, but this one blows it away.
Oh yeah. And I'll spoil it. This was my number 3, so this is gonna be the next thing I was gonna talk about anyway. So we can just go back and forth on it for a bit if you
There
want.
we go.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I remember going to see it in the drive-in, and it raining, and my sister wanted to leave it. I'm like, nah, I'm not leaving. I sat there in a chair with a
I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving in a chair with an umbrella and watched the whole damn thing in a downpour. But it's so good. The opening scene with Nightcrawler is one of the best opening scenes of any movie, comic book or
Yes.
anyways, otherwise.
Yes.
And yeah, they're so good. And then like just the little things too. William Stryker, Brian Cox playing that character
Man, Brian Cox.
to a T. Like he's so good and he's so menacing. And Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Famke Jensen, uh, James Marsden, just everyone's just in it, and they're doing work, and they're trying to like build this world. And this movie, well, I'm sorry, X-Men built the world. This one just expanded on it, and everyone. This is what a good sequel should be. It should take the first movie better, and that's
Yep.
what they did. Yeah, and that's what they did, and it was my favorite comic book movie for a while.
Yeah. And you describing the cast there, it's crazy how good this cast is.
Right, I didn't even mention Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah. Man, what a year he had.
Yeah.
But he's getting older and taking less parts, and when he is no longer with us, what a loss that is going to be.
Really, truly.
Because and he has said like, hey, if anybody's going to do anything with me and any of these characters, you got to do it quick, because he's not going to be acting much longer. He took that fall on stage not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like his casting as Magneto.
Oh, one of the best.
What a genius idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Like those two, they really, really make this franchise. They're the linchpin of it. Without those two, these movies don't work.
No, and like the Hugh Jackman Wolverine gets all the notoriety, but you're right. The heart and soul of these movies are those two.
Yeah,
The
and the
warring
heart and soul of
ideology.
the prequels
Yeah.
are them as well.
Yeah.
And great casting. Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. Like, yeah, James McAvoy when he's not like the top tier actor that everybody knows that he is now. But like, I mean, Michael Fassbender was pretty much always great. It's crazy that like Michael Fassbender followed up like Inglourious Bastards and 300 and all that with doing like these. And now he's basically like, hey, I'm just gonna choose
Random
whatever I want
Yeah.
to do now.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Hey, more
have
power
to,
to him.
he doesn't have to do a franchise thing ever again. But I bet he pops up. I bet he pops up in the MCU sometime.
Oh yeah, yeah. I almost guarantee it.
They're like, what if we bought you an island?
No, I do enjoy islands.
He's like, is it a big one or a small one?
Is it Johnny Depp's island or bigger?
But yeah, great movie.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to watch that right now.
I do. It's tempting. But yeah, so that was your number 4, my number 3. So move on to your number 3.
Okay. What do you think it is?
What do I think it is? So I know I'm going to guess Kill Bill.
It's Kill Bill. I knew you'd get there.
Yep.
There's a couple other movies that are like the big dogs of this year that you're like, okay.
You can't touch those two.
Can't touch it. Boom, boo, doo, doo. Okay. Kill Bill. So Kill Bill for me is phenomenal. This is some stunt choreography that is bar none. And the music, the villains that they choose in this one, perfect casting. And I just want to point out again, I was going through our episode there where I went on my tangent on the Spider-Man movies and how they felt like they only released half a movie because you don't get closure whatsoever. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 are perfect examples of how to release a Volume 1 and 2 because you get closure. It tells you everything you need to know about what this saga is going to be about, where it's going to go in the next one. Obviously, she's going to get to Bill. That's where this franchise is going. But this one isn't about her working to fight Bill. It's her working to fight Lucy Liu's character.
Right.
So they build her up as this like massively impossible to beat second to final boss. And that's what this movie is about. And that is how you successfully build a part 1 of part 2,
Like a Nintendo game.
Right. You're not seeing half a movie. Like you feel closure at the end of this where, she completes her mission and she's riding off into the sunset and she's talking about how, okay, now Bill is next.
Yep.
And they drop just enough of a little cliffhanger there at the end to be like, oh, So like they leave it's just enough, but they give you full closure.
Yeah.
And I'm really a big fan of this movie, and I think this is going to be the next Quentin Tarantino movie I get on 4K. I've been eyeing the Steelbook of it, and it's almost impossible, like despite everything I just said, to watch part 1 without just feeling like you need to go watch part 2.
Roll right
it's
into
just
it.
One of those. But like, I'm gonna follow up on this in just a moment here. But like, yeah. So yeah, that's my number two.
Yeah, it's a very good number two. I enjoy it quite a bit.
All right,
All right,
I feel like we have the same number two.
I think we might.
What's your number two?
My number two, with its U.S. release being in 2003,
Oh, what a curveball! You know
is
what? As you were leading into it, I was like, wait a second. He brought one up a few weeks ago that I think might be
so
okay.
we. All right, so maybe our number two, maybe your number two is not even on my list. Maybe I'm just blanking on it. But my number two is 28 Days Later because its U.S. release was in 2003. That's when I saw it,
Yep.
and it was on my list of my favorite movies of the last 25 years. It is so good. We've talked at length about this movie. Cillian Murphy, Brendan Gleeson, Naomi Harris, directed by Danny Boyle. 87% from Rotten Tomatoes for the critics, 85 from the fans, 7.5 on IMDb, which I think is low, but whatever. And and yeah, it popularized the fast zombie. I would say it might not be the first movie to ever have like zombies running, but it made like it gave new life to it. It gave new that's funny, new life to dead things, but you know what I mean. Uh, like zombie movies, like we grew up with like Resident Evil, right? Like slow moving, you could like they're a problem, but you can get past them. And this movie, when those things haul, you got to haul or you're done.
Yeah,
And
and the
yeah,
Dawn of the Dead is the
hmm
year after this. That's
it is.
2004.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I think that
influential.
probably when this started it, and that probably like popularized it. That movie was so massive at the drive-in. You remember in Perry? Did you see that
Oh
at
yeah,
the drive-in?
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I took it a couple times. That's back when I used to go like multiple times a year to the drive-in.
yeah. It's crazy to think about how many of these movies I've actually seen at the drive-in.
Oh yeah, and like especially like this summer because it was a pretty good summer for me. Like I didn't have a whole lot to do, so I went to the drive-in a lot. And yeah, so yeah, 28 Days Later, can't say anything really bad about it. It's fantastic. Its sequel is great, and I'm excited for the third one coming out.
You know, that's really awesome. I'm glad that this is where it was. But yeah, you threw me through a little bit of a loop there for a second.
I have no
I
idea.
realized right before it was happening that I was like, wait a second, this might be different.
I have no idea what your number one is. I mean, number two is. Sorry.
Okay, my number two, and this once again may be recency bias because I just watched this for the first time over the weekend. But Master and Commander, the first one.
Oh, duh. I knew that.
So I will say I have this. I have the book for the movie. My dad
Look
bought
at that
this
guy.
for me many years ago. I saw this movie at the theater, and I have the physical edition of it.
Nice.
So all the things.
I should remember that. I should remember that. It just left my brain for whatever reason.
I remember enjoying this movie when I saw it, but I also, as like time went on, I was like, just kind of grew like softer and softer on it. You know, like, well,
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't. There are many
but
scenes in this movie that so to do the math, I was 15 when this movie came out.
yeah.
And there's many scenes in this that I'm like as I'm watching it, I was like 15-year-old me would not find any of this interesting, you know?
where's the
But
where's the ghost explosions?
yeah, so what this movie is about is Russell Crowe is the captain of a ship in the 1800s and he is up against a it's basically a game of cat and mouse between him and a French ship that is part of Napoleon's army. And they are chasing after each other and basically playing a game of sort of chess, but almost like touch and go type thing,
Right.
where they Russell Crowe's ship is not up to par with this other ship.
Yeah.
This is a new like hybrid ship that's trying out new things, and it's faster, and the wood in it is thicker, like all the things. So he has to plan his all of his moves.
Good thick wood.
Yes, he has to plan all of. He really has to plan out how he's going to defeat this thing.
Right.
And
It's,
so
it's kind of like Fury, but with ships.
Uh
Because Fury, the German tanks are so much more advanced than theirs.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Sorry,
was thinking, I was like, were they hunting one other ship in that? Oh, I went the wrong way.
that's all right. We got you there.
But yeah, so it is, it's done extremely well. So it is. Let me see. Looking at the cast here, so the guy that plays Pippin is in this,
Hmm.
and also we have Paul Bettany, and Paul
Yeah,
Bettany is like his right hand. James Darcy is in it, the guy that plays the butler to Howard Stark in Agent Carter.
Agent Carter.
And then the it's got a lot of other casts that are on the ship with him, but those are mainly the ones that anybody would recognize. So the music in this is extremely well done, and the ship that they're on is designed like it's phenomenal to look at this thing. And so, there's just a ton to love about this
Yeah.
movie, and I was just so impressed with it. And it got nominated for a number of Oscars when this year rolled around, and it did win, I think, two. Yeah, it won two. It was nominated for I think 11 or something.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
know, like Pirates,
Let
Pirates of
me
the Caribbean
see
went over
here.
6. I
One,
saw.
two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nominated for 10, won 2, and every single one that it lost were won by the same movie. And I think we're going to get to that movie in just a minute, so I won't spoil
Maybe.
that. You're like, Bulletproof Monk.
Yeah, love it.
But
That's funny.
yeah, this is a movie that I really loved, and I remembered a lot of the things about it as I watched it. My dad is super into history. He has ships in bottles and things like that. So it really, I think you should check this out. I think you'd really like it. It's a
Yeah.
dad's movie. It's like the ultimate dad movie.
Well, I've seen it, but you're talking to the audience, right?
Oh, you've seen it.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I like it a lot. I saw it in the theater.
Oh,
I
nice.
don't know why I didn't put it. I didn't put it. In my, it just it, You have mentioned every single one of my honorable mentions, but one on your list. So
I wonder what the honorable mention is, or the one I'm missing is. Is it Big Fish?
no, I never saw Big Fish.
You've never seen Big
Never
Fish?
seen Big Fish. No,
Wow.
that's a
Well,
big fish I've missed.
yep. All right, we'll get to that in a moment here.
Yeah.
Want to bust into number one?
Yes, number one, and I'm sure it's also number one for my good friend here, is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
There was no possible way this wasn't going to
It
be
had to
number
be.
one.
Yeah,
Before I built the list, I knew it was going to be. And yeah, like I said, every Oscar that Master and Commander lost, it lost to this movie.
yeah.
If that movie had come out any other year, it would have done so well.
Oh
But
yeah.
this,
The
it
year before,
overshadowed everything.
yeah, the year before it would have beat Chicago for probably all that stuff. But yeah, it just unfortunately not to not to make it lessen, but the Academy was like, okay, we've not given this movie series enough love, and they really heaped it on this movie, and it deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 94% from Rotten Tomatoes, 86 from the fans, which is surprisingly low, I think, and then a 9.0 on IMDb. So there you go. Those are big time numbers from a big time movie. You said it, I think, in a group chat the other day about how you wish you could go back and rewatch those movies for the first time, and I can't
Yeah.
agree more. Like that would be so good just to have that experience again.
I really do. I saw this 3 times at the movies, and I saw
Yeah,
all 3 of them 3 times at the movies, and I think that yeah, it just really blew me away, and I wish I could see that. Like that's an
yeah,
experience you just don't get anymore.
right. One of my favorite things of
Nobody goes to see a movie 3 times at the theater anymore
no,
because
well,
they see it once and then it comes out on digital 3 weeks later.
yeah, Jesus, you're not wrong about that. Uh, yeah, I have one of my favorite things the last couple of years was I had Holly watch those movies, and just to watch her like the first movie she's like, oh, that's really good, and then the second one she's like, this is fantastic, and the third one she's like, she's fully on board at that point, And it's like, yeah, we can watch The Hobbits. They're fine. Apparently, The Ring of Power is okay, but even if those other properties that share the world aren't as good, those three movies are the perfect trilogy.
Yeah.
And it's a landmark film. It is. Yeah, you can't say anything bad about it. I don't think you can say anything bad about it. Like maybe the multiple endings, but just turn it off at a certain point. I don't know.
You know what's hilarious? So when I watched this yesterday, I watched this first thing yesterday morning, and the version I was watching wasn't listed as the extended version, and I was specifically looking to not watch the extended version,
Guess what?
and I accidentally watched the extended version. There was a point where I looked and I was like, there can't be that much left of this, and I was like, oh my god, there's 2 hours left. But it's still such an easy 2 hours, you
Yeah.
know? And yes, people talk about how the ending is kind of drawn out, but I really don't. I really don't think it was as egregious as people have said
No.
it was. I will say, you can stop the movie at the after Frodo gets on the ship and the ship is like going into the sunset. You can stop it right there.
Oh yeah. You can even
You
stop
know?
it with when Aragon says, "My friends, you kneel for no one." You can stop it there.
Yeah, but I do like how they
Yeah,
close out the
that's
chapter
true.
with
You're right.
everybody
You're
there.
right.
You know, there's nothing I can look at and say like there's nothing bad in it, but like when they and so this might only be an extended version thing where they pan back to Samwise as he gets home, and then Frodo gets one more voiceover in, and then it closes when like it fades to black after like they close the door to his little hobbit house.
I
Um,
think that's how the regular version ends too.
Yeah, that scene doesn't need to happen.
Oh,
But also, that scene's only 30 seconds long.
yeah, it's
Every
fine.
other scene, as I watched it, I was like, oh, this ain't so bad. This is, like, I'm glad I have this.
Hmm.
And it's, it is a trilogy
Yeah.
capper. You know, you've sat here for, by the time this rolls
Oh,
around,
jeez.
you've been
Eight and a
sitting
half
there for
hours.
eight
Yeah.
hours by this point. So, yeah, take a little time to really soak in the end of it all. So,
With the characters you've spent as much time with.
yeah. And what I was alluding to before is that each one of these Lord of the Rings movies truly feels like its own movie as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to talk about that whole idea of part 1, 2, and 3 and making sure that they feel like their own movie. Each one of these really is about its own thing. And I think it's a perfect example of that. And it is, in my eyes, this is the best trilogy out there.
Yeah.
No trilogy has hit this length where all three of them are top tier 10 out of 10 movies.
Yeah. Completely agree. You want to take a shot at what it grossed?
I'm looking at what it grossed right now.
No.
So
There goes there
I,
goes the win
I
from there goes the win from my sales master and commander.
I'm sorry, yeah, but I have the page pulled up, so I don't want to cheat.
Go ahead.
I'm
You
gonna.
you can just say it.
Is this if I'm reading this right? This is 1.1 billion, right?
Yeah. 1.1 billion.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is more numbers than I'm used to reading.
Yeah. Yeah. Phenomenon. It was a global phenomenon, and like I said, like probably Endgame got to the same level, but it's not common that this type of thing comes along. So you gotta respect it. And you gotta look back on it with fondness, like I do, and you do, obviously.
Yep. I think that this is it was you just don't see this anymore, right? Where everybody is like this. Everybody's got to go see it. That
Hmm.
I don't know. I just can't say enough about how much of a cool experience it was to see
It was,
these at the
yeah,
theater.
and it was Christmas
They should
time,
re-release these.
right? Yeah, they should. I'd go again and see it.
I would too.
Hell, I watched Alien last year. Looking forward to watch Jaws this August. It's gonna be great.
Yep.
You saw they're doing that, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
this creature showed up. Hang on, let me see if I can pick him up for a second. Oh, there he is. All
Okay,
right,
so
get out of here.
that's our list. Some honorable mentions that I had were The Recruit.
Okay.
That's a good one. I was a big fan of that movie. I had the DVD, watched it a lot. We also had The Matrix Reloaded. I'm a big fan of that movie. It easily could have made this list, but
Yeah, Reloaded's enjoyable.
yeah, but it just didn't. Did you know that Reloaded and Revolutions were released this year?
I saw that and when I was looking through a list of things I saw. I don't remember that being the same year at all.
Yeah, it was. It was only like 6 months or something between them. That's how you do a part 1 and 2 right there, or
Yeah,
a part 2 and 3 in this case. But not release it and tell half a story and then release the other one 4 years later.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm never going to get over that, apparently.
It's getting worse too. Like you brought it up, and they just keep delaying and delaying. Like, oh man, he's got a point.
Yeah,
I'm on Team Pat with this one now.
maybe we shouldn't release this. Freddy
Y-
versus Jason was this
yep,
year. Jeepers Creepers 2 was this year.
yep. I enjoyed
Uh,
Jeepers Creepers too.
yeah, so did I. I have.
Uh, Underworld was this year. Nice. Lost in Translation we mentioned. The Last Samurai was this year. It was hard not to like mention that movie. I really when that movie came out, I was a huge fan of it. It kind of really not soured, but don't hold in the same esteem I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mentioned you mentioned pretty much every one of my honorable mentions. The one that you didn't mention was Elf,
Yep,
and
I have that on my list.
yeah, and Elf's a Christmas classic. It kind of lives in its own world.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel the need to put it on my list. I've seen it every Christmas since it came out. It's just kind of one of those things. It's just
I
there.
feel like I've told you this before, but I've still never seen Elf.
Yeah, I know it's weird.
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually.
No,
Maybe
you
I won't.
won't. Yeah, and I was gonna have this action movie called Umbach the Thai Warrior on my list because I loved it and it's ridiculous. But
Yep.
I found out that one is actually the reverse 20 days later, where it didn't come out in America until 2004. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. What else is on this list? Yeah, there's Oldboy. Italian Job came out this year. That's an enjoyable
Italian
movie.
Job did come out this year. Yep.
Monster. Old School came out this year. I almost put Old School on my list just because I wanted more comedy, but I couldn't find room for it.
Old School's a classic. Yep.
Yeah,
I
and
mentioned Big Fish before. You know what else came out this year? You ever see Identity?
yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I really like Identity.
I do too. You know, I think that I would
Another
like it a lot
Cusack.
more if they shaved 30 seconds off it.
Yep, that's fair.
The final twist of that movie, we didn't need it.
Nope, it didn't really land.
No,
What
it
else is
didn't.
here?
It's
Bad
actually
Santa.
downright stupid, in my
It's really
opinion.
dumb.
Yeah.
Bad Santa was this year.
I love Bad Santa. I almost put it on my list.
Lost in Translation, I mentioned briefly. Don't love it, but it's very popular. Monster was the movie that Charlize Theron won the Oscar for.
Oh yeah,
Never
I've still
never
never
saw it.
seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't either. What else? It's a big year for movies, as you said. Phone Booth came out this year.
Huge.
I like Phone Booth.
Phonebooth came out.
Yeah.
I love Phonebooth.
We said Identity.
Yep.
I
Gothika.
mean, Gothika. Not our cup of tea, but How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That's a rom com that a lot of people enjoy.
Yep. Paycheck with Ben Affleck. You ever seen that?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's Uma Thurman as well.
Wasn't there was a Denzel movie this year too, right? Out of Time came out this
Out
year.
of Time. Yep, yep.
Yeah. Secondhand Lions came out this year. It's big year.
I do like Secondhand Lions a lot. That's a good one.
And then the last thing I was going to mention was Seabiscuit. I really like
Ooh.
Seabiscuit.
Yep.
Tobey Maguire
Pursuit of
horse racing
Happiness.
movie. That was this year too. Jeez.
Yep. Basic's a good movie. You see that?
That's the John Travolta one, right?
Yeah. I would like that a lot more if I could stand watching John Travolta these days, but I can't. So.
Yeah. Hey, get out of there.
Willard, Ned Kelly, The Missing.
Loki, what are you doing?
You ever seen
Sorry.
The Hunted?
Yeah, I thought for sure that'd be on your list.
I didn't
Nope.
get a chance to watch it. All right, I'm just gonna blow through a bunch of these other ones that I wrote down here. So first off, Dreamcatcher was released this year. Bruce Almighty, The Core.
Oh yeah, The Core. That's a dumb movie, but I like it.
It is. My mom's a big fan of that movie.
Yeah, she
loves
is.
it. Loves it.
I remember getting a ride home from your house one stormy day, and she was talking about how much she loved The Core. I'm like, can we just get home?
I'd like to talk to you about The Core. Dumb and Dumberer, When Harry Met Loydd.
That movie feels like it was more recent than 2003, but time
Was
is
not. Hulk,
Yes.
Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Matchstick Men. I'm a big
Good movie.
Matchstick Men advocate.
Yeah.
Scary Movie 3, Love Actually, 21 Grams, Blindness, and Dr. Seuss the Cat in the Hat.
Oh God, that movie.
Yes.
That movie's not a good movie.
No, I'm not a fan.
But it's notable.
It is notable. It is worth
because it's
mentioning.
shit.
There's a lot of things there. So Oh, and one last one. This came out that year.
Yep, and that is a movie that my family has watched. I don't know why. It's just one of those ones. Like I told you, my dad doesn't watch that many, doesn't like that many movies, and we kind of watch the same ones over and over again when I'm watching a movie with him.
Mm-hmm.
That is one he loves.
The League is set.
The League is set.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
The game is afoot. And it's funny because like he took that role because he turned down Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings made $1 billion, and he's like, I'm gonna take the next big franchise role I see, and it was that one.
He probably should have waited until like Lord of the Rings was done to do anything like
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
And
I watched. That was one of the ones I watched because I don't know. It just trying to see if I could put it on my list, and I was like, I can't put it on my list, but I have a soft spot for it.
We got those.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had some news this week, but I was thinking I'm hungry, and I might skip it and hold it all till next week if you want to just jump into Physical Media Showcase.
Yes, sir. I have just a couple things. First thing here is I got my copy of Near Dark.
Oh,
so that is in the collection now.
Nice.
Excited to have that, and very happy that you had me watch that movie. The next thing here, it's funny you mentioned Black Hawk Down because my newest addition to the collection is the Black Hawk Down 4K Steelbook.
Nice. That's a good looking one. I'd have my eyes on that.
So, yeah, I'm a big fan of this movie, obviously. And yeah, just decided to grab it one day because I was just kind of feeling like I haven't bought anything in a while. So, grab that.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that. That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay. So, I told you that that the Criterion collection had done a 50% off sale. So I went on there and I bought 3 different movies. So first up, I have Blue Velvet.
Dennis Hopper, crazy person.
Nice little slipcase here. It's got a pretty cool stuff going on. It's got a little booklet on the inside here. So pretty cool packaging.
Am I thinking of the right movie there?
Dennis Hopper is in it, and according to the back, he is a maniac. I've actually never seen this. This is a completely blind buy because everybody has talked so highly of it, and it was 50% off.
You'll like it.
I do like David Lynch's stuff, so I was like, I'll give this a shot. For 50% off, I'll give it a shot. Next up, Thief.
James Caan.
Yep, James Caan. It's got this fancy little, it looks like a PS3 case to me.
Ooh, it does! Sorry for that reaction.
I thought it was going to be like a cardboard box like the other one. It's also got like a little booklet in it that's pretty cool. I thought it was going to be a poster, but it is not. It folds out and tells a little bit of his story. This is very good. I've talked about this before, but yeah. Now I can let you borrow this sometime if you'd like.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And the final thing that I got, which is probably what I think is the coolest thing, is I got Seven Samurai. And this is, for one,
Lord,
look at that. It's a thick boy.
It's a thick boy.
Yep.
And
so
big boy.
This has a bunch of cool stuff on the inside. You see this? You see how thick all that is? It's got 3 discs. It's got its own little booklet here with all sorts of production stills.
God, I want to watch that movie again.
I've also never seen this.
Oh, dude, are you in for that? That's like Bridge Over the River Kwai kind of good. You're gonna really like that.
That's what everybody has said, and I was like, you know what? Let's have the first time I watch this. I can't believe I went out and bought this thing. So this also originally was like $80 or $90 for this edition. It's a 3-disc thing. It just feels nice, you know. But I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna watch this and we got 50% off it, like that's the time to buy an expensive thing like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went for it. I bought it.
That's a good buy. You're gonna like that. I can almost guarantee that.
Cool. Well, I'm excited about it. So yeah, that's all we got for this week.
Yeah, tidy hour and a half. We did good.
I think we did pretty well, considering how long some of our other lists have taken.
Nice.
So my wife will be happy about that because she's probably just as hungry as I am right now. So, all right. Thank you everybody for joining us. Dan, thank you for taking the time to put that you put into this list.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I like doing these. So, you know, if anybody out there has any suggestions on
another year,
like us to do another year, you know, Dan, maybe the next one you can do where you pick a year because I picked this one. So,
yeah,
we'll
figure it out. Yeah.
All right. So, thank you everybody for watching. Please follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, all the places. It is at Bark Night Podcast. And also, please do us a favor and throw out some shares. Share this episode to somebody you know is into movies. Share it to your network. Do something like that. We really appreciate it.
We would.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you, viewers, and we'll see you soon.